Hello, welcome to Laura's Painted Minis. I am Laura. And today we're working on this Mr. Tree guy. Kind of what I'm calling him, I guess. We're going to get some green on him. So look for these areas here that are a lot more curly Q. Painted up kind of like a vine coming out of him. These guys down here. Trying out a different background. See if this helps a little bit. Something a little bit more neutral still, but not just a white or black color. Let's see. These kind of look like they're maybe some really big vines. I don't know specifically technically what this is supposed to be representing. I know it's from Dungeons and Layers. Dungeons and Lasers. Goodness. That was for their new world that they made called Deuce Layer, I think is how it's pronounced. It kind of looks right here like there might be vines. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint his little friends as green as well. I'm not sure what I'm definitely semi-curious as to what they are supposed to be. But not enough to actually have looked it up. Before painting them. It's not staying in focus. It's similar, at least from what I understand anyway, like to like dryads and a treant as far as like in D&D. So we're just gonna kind of go with that idea. I did not say the box that the sample pack was in. So I don't remember what this guy was actually called as far as the Deuce Layer world goes. Got a good start over the weekend on making up a Harry Potter based one shot. Kind of going off of the lore that um, of the founding fathers. So it's going to be set in the beginning years of Hogwarts. And I figured out some mechanics using hex crawl idea type ideas loosely. Kind of got rid of the doling out roles or like their positions or like quartermaster and stuff. And they're going to go through sorting ceremony, although it would not be with a sorting hat because that came later when the founders were getting older. Part of me, what I was learning, and trying to really, since I was diving in the lore all and stuff on that in order to figure out how that would work. Let's see, are there any other vine type things? We got like a rope in here. Just interesting. But yeah, and just using like the Wands and Wizards adaptation rules, although I plan to tweak possibly tweak some things. I might not necessarily have to do any for this one shot since I'm doing first. I'm gonna do it as a bunch of first years, which means level 1. Could do level 1 or 2 because their layout, the way they translated D&D levels to years, those first few years like have one level at the beginning of the year, and then they have a set switch to the next level up at the end of that school year, which I suppose goes along with the idea that you're supposed to kind of make those first few levels of D&D where you level up pretty quickly. I did a level 10 one shot last fall using the Wands and Wizards, and they have it so that you're starting with the sorcerer class, and they have new subclasses and stuff. And they get differing numbers of spells. Some of them are closer to the normal amount that a sorcerer gets, and some of them are like way more. So, especially when you're running one shots and they're just starting there, they've not been like gradually growing to level 10 and getting to be used to the spell names and stuff like that. Because they also changed all the spell names to kind of flavor it towards Harry Potter, which is cool. just makes it difficult. Like I kind of already mentioned, like so I'm gonna pare down. If I were to do a higher level, like level 10 or whatever, again of that, I definitely would pare down the spells to just keeping it to just what the original sorcerer class has for the amount of spells that you know. You can, when you get into looking at like the details of the different subclasses that they've got, you can tell that they try to make it so that even though you're all playing a sorcerer, technically, you can still play something that's like a paladin or like a druid. Um, and I like that. That's cool. I'm kind of wondering if the author of it is gonna finish up some things or what's going on with that, because I guess the last version is a few years old now. And I don't think there's been anything, at least from them, posted on the Discord that I noticed as far as something really recent. And I at least got also like enough of an idea of like the plot, or basically what the big baddie. So it'll basically kind of be a way of allowing the players to kind of take a part in the history of Hogwarts, sort of. don't want to give too much away in case somebody who will end up playing in that this fall. But they'll basically be able to play out some parts of the Hogwarts history with my own little spin on it. The big details of Godric Gryffindor and Salazar Slytherin being at odds with each other will still be there. I've added in some elements so that, since the players themselves will be first year students, figure out a way for them to have a little part. And then, of course, I finished up basic plot lines and encounters for that Dracula one shot that I had started kind of thinking of / writing last fall. So I'll have that, and there's also be the one shot I had already prepared for our winter one shots that I didn't get to run because some people just ended up not showing up. It's kind of the dangers, I guess, of doing a winter event in the Midwest. People are going to get sick, or it's going to be really bad weather, or in our case, it was both. There were people that were sick that weren't able to come, and also there was a lot of snow that day. And now it's like mid 50s and snow is melting. I also came up kind of solidified a little bit more of just how I'm going to start my next, or well, my first ever campaign. Done a lot of one shots, never done a campaign. I've played in a lot. I've played in some campaigns. And I am currently playing in a Draw Steel campaign. But I wanted to be able to kind of have some set fun female time with some friends. So and I knew there was at least a few of them that liked D&D, or at least, you know, tabletop role playing games. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Kind of again, I don't want to go into detail on too many details on that because I don't know if they watch my streams. So but I will definitely probably be talking about it on streams, you know, what ends up happening in a session. As I often do even for the games that I actually play in. There's always fun, interesting things that you just don't expect happening. And I'm continually learning too, of just things I can improve on. And I've gotten some good feedback too on things that people appreciate about how I DM. Specifically, that I don't just like lay everything out on the table. Like, I might like put the whole map out. And then just help remind the players of like, well, you don't actually know that that's there. That door is hidden behind a curtain. You haven't gone behind that curtain yet. I've also done it where I've actually not had the map fully drawn out. I did that last fall actually with the Harry Potter one shot I did last fall at level 10 because I was doing a sort of maze. To win a Wizard's Cup. And it was fun and all. It does take time to do something like that where you're drawing out the map as you see it. And when you have a one shot, doing a one shot, and you have only so much time. It can take away time for the players to actually be able to really interact. I think I like kind of like how my husband will do it. If he remembers, he will bring like we've got a bunch of just black construction paper, which is what I was using for the background of this, since we just have a bunch of it. And he would use it to kind of cover up parts of the map they technically wouldn't be able to see or haven't been in yet. Which I have done too, as well. I've used that as well. You just have to remember to actually bring the paper with you. Now, this is definitely sculpted. Like, there's tree leaves up here on top. What I'm painting right now. So I'm starting to actually now this highest highlight, or at least currently my highest highlight that I have on the palette. I'm gonna actually pull out some more purposefully. I was kind of doing some just dabbing um, with each of the layers of the previous colors. It's kind of like the idea of when you're doing hair, you can wait until that final highlight, or even the second to final highlight, to actually pull out specific strands of hair. Or rather, I mean, more realistically, it would be specific clumps of strands of hair. I've finally been getting into High Roller's new campaign, Althea. It's so good. I love that they will like choose different characters and not just like different subclasses, but their characters really feel different from the previous campaign, even though it's still the same group of people. You know, they're actually getting into the characters, they're exploring different personalities. And then, of course, it's always fun to see what Mark homebrews. Contemplating like trying to do one of the horror one shots of Kim Richards, even though I did still actually finish um, finish up what I needed, at least for the Dracula one shot. I'm not sure how many other people would actually be interested in like horror type one shots, so that probably would be best to maybe only do like one per TTRPG weekend. I mean, if we get enough people that we kind of have to, people would just have to play, but I don't want people to make people play. Most of the time, we're like right at that sweet spot, uh, or something comes up and we have to cut a game. So I don't think we've yet had the well, no, that's not true. We when I was kind of like my very first time doing some one shots, I just kind of took the Lost Mines of Phandelver and broke it up into a few one shots, and I think there was at least one person who they had played it before, but we didn't have back when we were keeping it very, very, very informal, just because when it started, there were probably only 2 or 3 people to DM. So you don't really need a sign-up sheet when it's that small of an event. There's been a lot of new people to our church over the last few years, and a growing interest, I think, in general in the area. Now that people have an understanding that it's not devil worship, so it's okay. It's just another game. Now, it really just depends on the group. I mean, like, it certainly can go into the realm of not uh, good biblical fun. And I suppose you could have a group that is actually using it to worship the devil. I don't know. I'm not even going to try and think about how that would work because that's not something I want to do. But yeah, just like any game, it's what you make of it with that. It's, you know, really just depends on the group, the person running the game. Sweet. So you're able to get all the green pretty much painted up today. decide what I want what I want to paint next. Because there's a lot of stone too on this guy. There's actually his hand over here too. So I'll have to do a little thinking on it. Since I used a yellowish green, I will need to use something a little more of a red violet or magenta for this in the eyes. So if you were here last week, you heard me mention that I do plan to just go ahead and use a red that will complement the green that I use. And so look on the color wheel. It's actually more, yeah. This is more of a yellow green rather than straight up green. So straight across from that would be red and violet. That is it for today. Thursday we'll be back to Mr. Dragon, which I found to be able, I think I have figured out pretty well like how I'm doing the scales. So here is what I've done on him so far, and I started working on the gums, you can see, and I definitely am at the point where I really need to, if I'm going to fill in these gaps, I definitely need to do that. But yeah, I like how this is turning out. I think I might need to take the horns up a bit lighter just so that they stand out against the skin. Maybe kind of bring some touches of highlights back up on this, but for the most part, he's looking very cool, I think. It's going very much for like something that's different, I guess, than just like a blue dragon or a green dragon. Like, since this is for my campaign I'll be running, and yeah, dragons will be a little bit more, be a little bit different. So yeah, we'll be working on him. I might have the head done actually by Thursday. So probably working on something. Maybe we'll get work on the body, or maybe I'll do the legs. We'll see what I'm feeling like. But yeah, you can see the progress of this guy if you go ahead on over to my Instagram and Facebook. I often post in progress photos on those. I really should get my threads, because I do have a threads account too, actually. Kind of forget about it sometimes. And yeah. So yeah, check in Thursday for the next stream and to see me work some more on this dragon bust, or sorry, not a bust, dragon beastie boy. Just leave him there. I will see y'all Thursday. Bye.